Alright, you know what we're going to do today? I'm going to teach you how to replace the rear urethane wheels on the KooWheel Electric Skateboard. One of the biggest questions I get is A, where to get these replacement wheels at, and B, how do you change them? We're going to answer that today. We're going to answer both those questions. Getting these isn't exactly easy. They are out there. I can get them. I don't have them to sell. I don't have them in stock. Worst case scenario, I can definitely get these for you. And I'm working on stocking these up. That's going to be one of my goals here within the next month or so, is to try to stock some of these hard to find or hard to get parts, or parts that sell out really quick. That's another issue I've noticed, that there are parts available, you can find them, but they sell out quick. Alright, so come with me. This is what we're talking about. The rear wheels on the skateboard. The motor's inside of these wheels, so there's just this replaceable piece of urethane. And it's got these little ridges in it, and that's what holds the wheel on there. You're going to need a #1 screwdriver, and you're going to need an Allen key. Alright? Make sure it's a #1 screwdriver. If you don't know what size screwdrivers are, you didn't understand they come in sizes, certainly they do. You can see the difference between the tips. And #3s are like the real fat head. They got the wide. This is definitely #2. If you use a #2, now maybe a worn one might work a little bit, but a fresh one's going to skip right over this. You're going to strip it out. And even with a #1, you have to be really, really careful, just because of the nature of where the screws are placed. See how that edge is banged up from rocks? There is some thread locker on the screws, okay? If you guys decide to use thread locker again, which I do recommend, I would recommend not dripping it on there, to get a Q-tip and paint just enough on one little side that you're going to need, because when you screw it in, it's going to spread that around just a very, very tiny bit when you reinstall it. Don't put a lot on there. An issue I have seen is people using too much. I've seen this in the forum. It ends up ruining, it gets all over, it ends up ruining the motor. So you gotta remember, these get hot. Now, the heat should help cure it, but if this stuff gets into some place it's not supposed to be, then it's going to cure in a place it's not supposed to be. Keep that in mind. So, your #1 screwdriver and your Allen key. That's what you're going to need. And of course, the replaceable wheel. I know it may sound ridiculous for you to hear this, but I don't want you to have to go stripping it out, because then you're going to have to extract that if you want to replace the urethane. And you get to that point, you're going to end up getting really pissed and mad, and you're going to be like, "Rah! KooWheel! Ah!" I get it. I get it. So we're going to try to eliminate all that. Alright, so what I do is place the board flat like this. Alright. Put it up against your body. Now you have a nice 90-degree surface to work with. Place your screwdriver in there straight. Make sure it's straight. Now I like to apply pressure. I actually even put my chest into it and go down with it. Faster is not better. As slow as you possibly can, push down and turn at the same time. If it even starts to slip over it, it's stripped. Don't worry about it. Don't strip it out even more, because if you're going to want to extract that, you're going to need some sort of meat to grab onto with either your extractor or your chisel. That's a whole nother episode. So once you have all these removed, just take out that center one. Now, if you have Allen keys and they're bent in an L, use the smallest end of the L when taking this out. When you use the long end and it's long, you have more of a chance of stripping it out. This also has thread locker on it as well. See that blue on there? That's what that is, thread locker. You only put a little bit on one side. And that's what actually they did here. They did it properly. They put just a little bit on the one side and that's it. You don't go loading it up. This one's the most important one to pay attention to. If you load this up and there's too much in there, it's going to drip down into your motor and you're going to have problems without a doubt. So be very, very, very careful. Okay, this here goes through the center of that, and that's a bearing right there. You may have seen the previous video I made on this where I took it apart and I showed you guys what was inside. Now, because it's a motor inside and it's magnets, this is all pretty much held together. The magnet's sucking it all together. There we go. Now we've loosened that from the motor. I can push that down out of the way. Pull that off. Now I push that down out of the way. See this here? Be very, 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 very careful. If you have anything metal in the area, be very careful. You want to clean up when you're all done here, because this will provide a problem if you have anything metal. It's going to stick to these magnets. But that's what it looks like outside of it. That's it. It's not like a regular skateboard bearing. Now before I go replacing any wheels or anything, I always inspect. I always look at my motor. Does everything look good? Does it look worn? Check my bearing. Is there play in my bearing? This is all stuff you can do while you have it apart. Clean your bearing. Clean inside here. Cleanliness is very important. Now you're going to want to remove this tire. This is what they call it. Put your whole hand over it. Cup the outside and lift up just a little bit and turn. Oop. And turn. And turn. You want to do it evenly. It's going to start pulling up. Now I can get both sides. Be very, very careful when you're turning this. I don't really recommend spinning it fast. Very gently you can turn this around. Now remember, there's no bearing in there and there's no screws keeping this center. So it's very possible it could go off center. If you do it too hard, you'll scrape the outside of that motor and you're not going to have good luck. So just be very, very gentle with it. Work it off like this. See? Voila! That's it, guys. Now a lot of you guys already know that I work for KooWheel, but I also work for Maytech. Right now at KooWheel, we're focused on getting together these electric skateboards and meeting the demand. We tried to buy enough stock to be able to have the parts at hand, because I understand that's really important. Believe me, I understand that, and I portray that message over and over and over and over again. I hammer it into their heads over there. Believe me, I do. I get it. It's not the easiest thing right now to get from KooWheel. But luckily, Maytech has a solution. You guys tell me. Can I use this one and replace this one? What do you think? She lines up pretty good. As a matter of fact, the replacement one from Maytech has a flat back edge and a chamfered front edge, just like this one does as well. They look just about identical. Now it's super important to keep an eye on this bearing, to keep it clean, to make sure it stays in good condition. This bearing can cause total motor failure. This bearing actually keeps the motor in the center, or keeps the magnets in the center of this outside part and keeps it rolling smoothly. If that bearing fails, it's going to create a lot of heat, it's going to create a lot of friction, and you're going to have motor failure. Without a doubt. There's no doubt in my mind. Alright, so I did the inspection of the motor. If you have electrical parts cleaner, now's definitely the time to spray this puppy down. If you're going to do that though, just remember, let it all evaporate off and to check it again once you sprayed it. Because I've noticed when I've cleaned these motors, sometimes the dirt washes down into the cup on the very inside and you have to hit it again. So just make sure you double check, that's all. Everything looks good. I'm gonna pop this back up. There we go, she's all set. Now this may not be the easiest to put on. Don't use any lube and do not get a metal hammer out and bang it on there, okay? Believe me, you don't want to use lube. Never, ever, ever use any type of lube. These ridges is what holds it on. If you put lube on there and it slips around that, you're gonna be in trouble. You're gonna be in big trouble. I speak from experience. It's not gonna work and you're gonna get crazy, crazy, crazy road vibration. It's gonna be like, and you're like, I hate this board. There's two sides to these wheels. Looking at it straight on, you can see this side's flat and this side's rounded. The flat side goes down towards the board. The rounded side stays up. So let's put this wheel on. I'm going to stretch it, and then I'm going to stretch it over to the other side. Okay, now that I put the one side on and then I stretched it over to the other side, I got it started. I'm going to hold the back side, because if you push down, just push, it's going to pop. It's going to pop through again. So I'm going to hold this back side like this, like that, and I'm going to use this like a press. I'm going to use my hands just like a press, and press, and turn, and press, and turn, and press, and turn, and press. And you're going to do it bit by bit. You see the wheel going down, right? Turn and press, turn and press. Keep turning and pressing. I can see it's on there. Everything's even. It looks good. Now we can put that plate back on there. Alright, plate's all clean. I'm going to line the screw holes up. I'm going to line this up. And drop it on there. Squeeze it together. And if you need these rear wheels, I can also get these. Right now, unfortunately, I don't have them in stock in my local warehouse. So there's going to be a little wait to get them. I would suggest if you can't find them elsewhere and you really, really, really want them, or you want them for the future, just send me an email, eskateworld, ESK8 WORLD, and you can place an order with me and I'll make sure I get them out to you. You can be anywhere in the world to do that. That's not a problem because I can ship these anywhere in the world.